Hello, welcome to week 6 of Human Development and Educational Psychology. This week we will be continuing to learn about motivation. So last week you hopefully started chapter 5 and had a chance to review the presentations over self-determination theory and attributions. And then you worked on your quiz for attributions from the teacher's perspective. So I will be getting you some feedback on those. In the quiz tool, I don't think the feedback that I provide shows up to you, but I am happy to give you feedback. If you missed some and you want to know why, please just send me an email and I'll let you know what you missed and send you the correct response so you have that to study for the first exam that's going to be coming up in a few weeks. So this week we're continuing to learn about Chapter 5, the motivation theories. You'll have a class presentation on expectancy value theory and achievement goal theory, so be sure to watch those from your peers because you are responsible for those two in addition to the ones from last week. And then this week, for your assignment, you'll be choosing a motivational theory and creating a project. So the project is going to be a brochure. And I have the explanation here for you. And it's basically your choice to pick the theory and pick the topic, the grade level, the subject. If you're not an education major, then I encourage you to make it for your workplace or for people that you might be working with in the future. If you're a medical major, it might be for patients, or a health science major, I guess. But you need to pick something that would be appropriate for you. I'd like it to be as authentic as possible. And you're going to come up with 4 recommendations from the theory that you choose. And I don't want it, directly quoted from the book, but you're going to kind of put it into your own words. So if I were doing something about attributions, for example, since we just talked about that last week, I might talk about make sure that you take responsibility for your own hard work, make sure to ask for help when needed, etc. So different things like that, and you will come up with 4 main recommendations. You also need a part on the brochure that explains the theory that you've chosen, again in your own words, and kind of ties it to the rest of the brochure. So if you're making a brochure for first graders, make sure it's pretty simple versus if you're making a brochure for adults. It can be a little more complex, but just try to keep it more in layman's terms and not in, educational psychology speak. Be sure that you have some pictures. You need 8 to 10 pictures or clip art. You need to have at least 1 picture of yourself. So be sure to include that as well. And then just be sure to go back through and check for spelling and grammar and that type of thing to make sure that there's not any errors and that it's easy to understand. So this is the rubric. It's a very short rubric, simple rubric that I'm going to be using to grade it. And then here's 2 examples from previous peers who have completed this project. So it needs to be in brochure form. You don't have to do it in Publisher. You may not have access to Publisher, but just make sure that if it was printed, it would fold up into the brochure form. So I don't just want like a 1-page document. You can do it in Word, you can do it in Google, you can do it where you want. But in a brochure, this would be the front flap. So this is kind of the main title. And then she included a quote here. This is the back flap. So this is the very back of the brochure. And with her picture, contact information, another photo. This is the inside flap. So when you do a brochure and you open it up, it's going to be this inside flap here. And then the second page of the brochure are like the 3 flaps. So when you open it all up, this is what you see on the inside. And you can see her statements here. So to increase interest is the theory that she chose. Started at a young age, make it fun at home, use it in everyday tasks, and stay positive. Those are her 4 recommendations with just a brief explanation for each. So anyway, and she has the right amount of pictures and clip art. And then you also need to have a graphic organizer. So it's not like a graph or like a results, but it's some kind of a graphic way to represent the theory or a component in your brochure. So just be sure to include something like that in addition to the 8 photos. So if you have questions while you're working on it, let me know. Most importantly, when you're done creating your brochure in whatever media you decide to use, save it as a PDF. Because if you do it in Word and upload that or do it in some other thing, it's going to be difficult for me to see what you've seen. So if you save it as a PDF, it kind of takes a snapshot of it. So save it as a PDF. Just be sure to check the rubric before you submit, and let me know if you have any questions along the way. Please just post them to the class discussion board, and I'm happy to help you answer them then, and then just upload to the Dropbox when you're finished. Thanks.